All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is Tuesday, this Tuesday night webinar, December 27th, 2016. And the title of tonight's webinar is Make Money Drawing on Your Charts. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar, other webinars we might have, our live trading room, or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, if not, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. All right, what I like to do every single week, and this is for repetitiveness so that we'll always get used to it. Does everybody use the webinar template at least occasionally until you train your eyes to really see what's going on? Does everybody use it? Good, good. I'm seeing a bunch of people coming in saying yes. Well, that's what we want, because you should be able to tell by looking at a chart immediately what direction the trend is going. And you want to be very careful going against that trend, because you could obviously get on the wrong side of the trade, right? Now, what I like to personally do is I like to go back a few hours and simply draw my lightning 3. So I'll hold in the control key, all right, and it's drawn. That's all. That's drawn just exactly the way it would do, on your charts too. Now, when I look at this chart, and this is extremely important to me, okay, because if you're going to trade and make money every day, the best thing to know is where your highs and lows are, right? It's just automatic. It's just part of trading. You have a high, you have a low. Is this low established, at this point right here? And the answer is no, right? But we do know that when it takes out this swing here, that it will be established, right? Now, the key to that is how much does it have to take it out before it is established? I like to have a complete closed bar. You could even go for 2 if you want to. So in other words, when that kind of gets like that, that pretty much established that swing. Okay? Now, when does it establish the next swing? Well, you've got a pull down right now. We don't know where the next swing is, right? We do know at the very moment, though, that that is our swing right there, that if we're going to head up, we cannot take out. So when it does kind of pop up again, see how you got a higher low again? And of course, when it takes out this swing across here by a closed bar or so, you know that this is your new swing. Everybody sees that, right? Takes out this, that's your new swing, right? So you just keep raising your line if you want to, and that is a really good way to trade. Why is it doing this? Just a second. Let me unblock that or whatever it's doing. Oh, come on. Okay, now, right now, where's our low that we would think that this would take to take this down instead of up? Anybody? Now we have to do a little bit more diagnosis here in just a minute. Right, 66.40, right? Because didn't we say this is an established swing? And that's extremely important. High, low, higher high when it got above the swing, right? Somewhere in through here. That's for sure higher there, right? And it pulls back. Now, could we have taken a trade possibly against this trend? More than likely up here, and I'll show you how to do that too. But for right now, we're going to talk about only sticking with the trend. Now, let's draw our lightning 1 or 2. Let's draw 2. Okay, there's our lightning 2 right there. And we're at the end of the chart. Okay, so now let's diagnose this so that everybody can tell me where your next trade is on this chart. Okay, but let's go to the actual chart. Now, what direction are we going to be looking? What direction are we going to be looking? And are we going to be taking a breakout trade? Well, at the open of the market, you certainly can. I proved that this morning. Remember when Charles had mentioned waiting for a deeper retrace, but I drew those two lines, and obviously he must have gotten into it also. But what you want to do is you want to always be ready, you know, especially if you got an identified swing area. I mean, my goodness, that was so good this morning that all you had to do was protect yourself under the little box. And I'm going to show that to you in a few minutes because it was called live. Okay. We're going to trade the TF because I called that one live also. But everybody's saying, at least that's typing in anyway, not a bunch of you typed in yet, but absolutely it's up, right? It's absolutely to the upside. Okay. And as long as this is stair-stepping up like this, do we really want to be in shorts? Not if you want to make the most money. Now, like I showed today, even on an oil trade, you can, you know, for instance, if this was to hit this top up here and kind of putter around a little bit and you could draw a little box and you thought you could get back on top of this swing, you know, you can make some good trades like that. But keep in mind, a double top is only known when it, you know, kind of putters around there for a little bit because they can just stop there, pull back one bar, and if you got short, they're liable to go up 30, 40 ticks on you. Okay. So let's look at the actual chart and see if we can actually set up a trade. And we're going to diagnose it a little bit further with this new chart. Okay. We've got our new chart right here. You can clearly see it's just a normal Viper chart that we use every single day. And I'm going to draw the same lightning on it. Okay. And we know, I don't know why that's got double that. Let me redo the template and see if I can get rid of that. I don't need a double toolbox. Now I've got a double toolbox anyway. What's the deal? I only have one toolbox, don't I? Yep. Oh, I bet I know why. I'll bet I know why, because the data's not even started. So that's fine. We'll leave it. I'll just go ahead and go back with the template. Okay, we don't care about that. That's because this data is on pause. If I started it up and it moves even with close of a bar, I should be able to redo that. And I'm going to draw those lines again real quick too. Bear with it just a second. See if we can get a closed bar at least, either up or down. There we go. That's a closed bar right there. Now let me go ahead and redo my template. Must be something with Ninja tonight. That's all right. Okay, let's just draw on our charts and we'll get a trade anyway. All right, so I'm going to draw on my chart, just like I did on my black chart. You don't have to draw if you can see these, by the way. So in my mind or on my chart, I will put a line right there. Everybody see why I put that line there, right? Now to me, if it breaks this line, more than likely this would head short, but I'm not going to just short it right away, simply because how many times have you done that? You know, where you short it right there at support, it goes down 3 ticks and then bam, off it goes. So if it's going to change trends, it would have to break this swing right here on this particular chart. Okay. Now we also have support right under here. I thought I changed that to default. Bear with me a second, I will. Being a little cantankerous tonight. Okay, so now we have lines drawn on our chart. Okay, so I'm going to look for a trade down here. Ellipse is telling me that it should be, but I've also got a trade that could end up anywhere between this line. So this is actually going to be like a sweet spot right through here, right? Now, if it breaks this by more than, say, well, let's say, for instance, if it breaks it and then comes back and pops up through it, I'm going to go long anyway, as long as that background doesn't change colors and as long as my midband stays correct. Okay, so let's get ready and see if we can trade this. This is about the middle of the night. I wasn't even close to up. All right, we're just going to do like 3. Since it's Russell that's $5 a tick, we'll do it this way. All right, so I want anybody in the room here to tell me where you would take this particular trade. Okay, and I'm going to let it go forward just a little bit at a time, and you tell me when you want to take this trade. I'll go 6 times normal speed because otherwise we're not going to get anything done here. Hopefully even at 6 times normal speed it will move. That happened to all your charts this morning, Diane? It may be something to do with the holiday too. I'll have to check it. I noticed that one of them's not active. I'm using the one on the left, so I'm not sure what's causing it. I mean, technically, I've got another chart over here that I could actually bring in that's only got the one. See right here? So we'll go ahead and do that. That double toolbar kind of bugs me. We'll do it on this chart. Same trade, right? All right, let's see if we can get a trade. And I'm going to draw on my predictors. And I'm going to draw this line here because we can't go any lower than here, right? High, low, much higher high, right? And that's also identified with my lightning 3. Now I would probably, if I was trading this in real time, I would be turning this on right here at this line because that's support right there. And I'm kind of feeling it's going to more than likely hold. So, okay, I'm in 1. All right, I'm going to get it far out of the way because I'm going to try to go ahead and at least get to here. If I've only got 1, I really only need to try to get 1 target. Okay, and since that's a swing, probably right there. All right, and then if they don't take this out, I'm going to go ahead and add 1. Let's see, when you see an up bar close in the box, my dilemma is if you wait for a closed bar, you give away 4 ticks. Absolutely, Pervez, that is absolutely true. So keep in mind if you would have fired it at, say, 1367, it would have probably been a little bit better trade. And you're absolutely right on that. But the only thing is, the caveat that I would bring to this is, though, that if you don't wait for the bar to close, you know, you're not getting any kind of confirmation. Because this could literally easily just blow right through the support and keep on trucking. Now, this is an aggressive trade right here. See, we're already down 2 ticks. Not a biggie, but if you were 4 contracts, that'd be $80 instead, right? Okay. Now, another good safe way to do this is to watch the meter. Okay. We know we cannot take out lightning 3, otherwise we're not heading up anymore. I mean, we looked at our chart, right? This chart right here pretty much tells you that if they take this out right here, we're not going to be heading up. Okay. So now what I normally do if I'm doing this type of trade, see where if I get a higher low than this right here and they pop back above that line, I'm going to add 1. But we don't want them to take out that swing. Now I'd go ahead and go with the close of that swing though, like this. No reverse though. Everybody see why on that? If they close back above my line at resistance right there at 67.10, I'll add 1. Now that's a very aggressive way that we just traded. See, we're down $40, $35. Everybody see that? Okay. That was support. That's an A, B, C, you know, so you really kind of expected a C to begin with. So you could have waited as far as that goes. Okay. But watch and see when the power meter actually goes green, and we'll just go ahead and add to it. All right. But if this closes above that line, I'm going to add 1. This is a phantom. Absolutely, Mindy. It is a phantom trade. Now, it was a phantom trade here also where I got in, actually on the closed bar, because it touched phantom, which is your phantoms between line 2 and 1. This little 6 tick area right here. If that closes above, I'm going to add 1. Now that again is aggressive because my meter's still saying down. See if we can get it. Philip says now instead. It'd be fairly aggressive to do it, and without any kind of hindsight or anything. We know that we've got a swing right under here. That's our lightning 3 swing. So I've got my stop in. That's actually 14 ticks, by the way, because of the fact that I've got to trust my swing over to the left here if I'm going to continue up. Okay, let's speed this up a little bit and see if we can get something else. That's almost 100 times. Hopefully it'll move. All right, I'm going to add one. All right, now that's still very aggressive type trading. Okay, now we've got 2 contracts, so if we go down any further, we're going to be down like $100 pretty easily. Okay, if they happen to turn this little meter green, let's go ahead and add 2. Hopefully it'll do a little thrust pullback. That's not what I quite like, but probably you'd have to take it anyway. We missed it. That's okay. All right, see what I'm getting at there though? When that meter turned green, I've got it going 100 times, so that really wasn't fair to us. In real life, you could see that it was doing it right here, or at least when it took out this resistance right across here, like that. Okay, so we're just in 2. All right, if we get any kind of a pullback, could we go with some more? Absolutely. You want to do that? Let's see if we can get a red meter at all. Or if, let's see, we should be able to come down. Let's look to the left to trade the right. Okay, we got a little swing right there that they identified to the left. See it right there, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace. So you got a swing right here. You got another swing right here. See if we can get a little pullback. We'll add. Ooh, it'd be nice if that'd go red. It might do it. It did on the power meter too, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on bar close 100 times again. I think we might have missed it. But anyway, we got it with a bar close, so we'll get 2 more contracts with that bar close. Should have gotten it on that bar right there, but I've got 100 times still on our little meter here. I'll turn that down. We'll kick it to about, say, 10. That should be fine. All right, does everybody see that? Now that turned out to be a pretty decent little trade, didn't it? Notice how the predictor was pretty much telling you where the swing was going to be to begin with. It missed it by, what, a tick, it looks like, maybe 2. And didn't it actually, when it took out that little trend line, was pretty much when it was starting to head up, right? It was for sure heading up when it took out this resistance here, took out this resistance over here, and it even took out this resistance here. Everybody see that? Now what if you weren't in this trade at all? Could you actually look for this little pullback like that and buy it? See how it just pulled, thrust up and pulled right back into support. Let's just pretend you didn't even catch any of this. See what I'm getting at? That's how to draw lines on your charts and to know where these things are going to hit their head. You can tell it, right? Thrusts up above, pulls back, tests mid-band, thrusts up again, pulls back and tests the next level. What do you think if it thrusts up again? Where do you think it'll test? Anybody? Well, I would be able to draw on the chart, I think. I'm going to draw a line here, and I'm going to draw a line here. Okay? So if they thrust up above here and pull back and kiss here, that could be another trade, couldn't it? You want to see if it does it? I don't know if it's going to do it, but let's just see. Because we've got lines drawn on our chart exactly the way I teach it every single webinar. Remember in NQ this morning, while it was doing that sideways stuff, I drew it. It traded just like I drew it, but you had to be faster than, me drawing it on the chart, because we knew where it should hit its head, and I drew where it should hit its head, and that's exactly what it did. When they're sideways, that's what they're going to do. They're going to check each and every level. Okay, let's see if we can get in again. We'll get in whenever y'all say to. Okay. Now we haven't broken here yet, so we don't know if this is going to be a swing yet, because this is pretty much your identified swing under here, isn't it? Although it didn't close above it, but it did wick 4 ticks above it. So you can consider that a little bit more of a close bar when they wick that high. That's what I was saying this morning in the trading room. But I would rather have a close bar. See where it opened here, actually opened here, went down here, and then, well, take that back. It opened here, went up to here, and then closed here. That's what it did. Everybody see that? Let me show you how the bar did. You know that it opened here, right? It wicked up, and then it closed down. This one opened here, wicked down, and then closed here. This one opened here and hasn't closed yet, but it's wicked down to here. If it closes up, then will have opened just where I said it did, and then it'll close up. Don't be afraid to get in on a micro pullback as long as you have your stop nice and tight. Okay? Now, what do you think? Anybody? You want to just pretend we're not in it at all? Let's just take it off the table. Okay, I'm going to draw 2 lines on this chart. Don't you think that if it's going to head up, that it should hold 69.80 to 69.40? What do you think? Anybody? You want to try that? Oh, we could move the targets, Mindy, but what I want to show everybody is how you can actually know where to get in these things simply based on the thrust and pullback. Okay? Because each time they break these little resistance areas, they'll pop up, they'll pull back and test. I'll just about bet you that they pull back in that little box or close to it within a tick. You want to see? Matter of fact, I'd be willing to bet 4 contracts. Anybody? What says the team? $69.40 was already visited. It has been, but keep in mind it went below it, so technically it visited here, which is not really a swing, but on a 2-range chart it may be. See, that's what they do, is they check every little swing. So it hasn't been to 69.80, and it technically hasn't been to 69.40. Oh, hopefully I can get this at 20 times. We'll see. Now, if I'm wrong on this, I'm going to know pretty quick. That's the time we opened the market. Remember, I was already in this trade this morning. I showed it on Russell. It's close. I'm going to go ahead and take it. Came within 1 tick. Now, when I took that like that, why did I take it like that? Because I drew on my chart. That's my micro swing. Okay, I'm going to get these out of the way so I can teach, but obviously you'd want to put one of your targets here. Okay, now where would my stop be on this particular trade if this doesn't work out? You had a thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust. So your lightning swing is right under there. Okay, and that looks like where I've got my stop anyway, so we'll leave it on exit on close. Now this would cost me 4 times 5, right? So it'd be 20 times 12, it'd be $240 if this goes against me. So I'm hoping that they give me a new stop right under here very soon. Everybody see why on that? And always look to the left and make sure we're not double topping too. Now we're going to at least get up to there, it looks like to me. They haven't come quite up there yet. But see, we're in no money on the trade yet. We're just right at break even. Now, if it was to come back any further than what it did, I would expect it actually to hit its head just below this box. So I would probably protect that a little bit. And now you're even okay to protect it under here. Everybody see that? Like that. Okay. Now let's go real quick to an NQ chart. Bear with me a second. We're going to go ahead and kill this chart. We don't care what it does. I'm trying to show you how to get into trades and what are really called live in the room too. Okay, we're going to go to NQ chart. I don't even trade NQ. That's not good. That's not good at all. Let me draw a fresh chart on NQ. Bear with me one second. Market replay data can be a little on the funny side. Wow, NQ is not drawing at all. What is the deal? Let me try it without any indicators on it whatsoever. And use the template of 24/7 always. Not sure why NQ is not drawing, so I guess we'll go back to Russell instead. For some reason, NQ is not drawing. Okay, but I want to show you something here, even on the Russell, just real quick. If we were to take a breakout trade on this, okay, this is right at the open right here. See the open right here? That was 759. There's your open. And by the way, that's breaking that little swing right across there. You want to take a chance on it? Let's do 1. Get our target out of the way. All right. Everybody remember an NQ this morning where it was just literally just kind of sitting there in a little consolidation space? You don't have to wait on the market to pull back every single day because they don't do it. Remember the rule of thumb, and it works quite well. If they don't break micro, they're not going to check medium. Okay, that's the opposite of saying if they break micro, they're going to check medium. Okay, and that's really important to know. Okay, let's see. You were talking about oil. We could actually back it up and show that trade again because you got really messed up on that one. Okay. We can do that. Just bear with me one second. I will get an oil chart. I'm hoping that something's not happening with my data because I tried to load an NQ chart and it would not load. See if oil will load. If it will, we'll be fine. Okay, oil is loading, so we're good to go. First off, let's go ahead and back it up just a little bit because, you know, those trades were called in the room live. So let's go to like 7:30. Right about, come on. Well, we'll go to 7:10. See if we can get a trade. We'll get this out of the way. All right. Now, let's diagnose our chart first off, everybody. What do you think on this particular chart? What's the overall direction? Isn't it up? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you were to put this on that black chart, let's just go ahead and do that just to diagnose it correctly. I'm going to change this to oil. And if you were to draw a lightning 3, I think you pretty much see a high, a low, a higher high because that low is now established. Higher low, but the low is not established because you got a lower high then, see? So they come down and gave you a higher low again. When was this low established? Well, this low was established when it takes out this swing. Everybody see that? So isn't this higher lows and higher highs so far? So why would we be wanting to trade it anymore? Oh, you're not seeing it? Bear with me a second. I leaned on the control. Everybody see it now? Okay, let's go over the diagnosis of it again. You had don't even pay attention to way back here. I just started, a few hours back. You got a low, you got a high, you got a higher low. When do we know this is our new low? Right? When it takes out this high. Took out that high, so that's your established low, right? So then you come up, you pull back. Now where's your established low on this chart right now? Still 52.95, right? So since it's 52.95 at least now, let's see if it'll make a turn up. We don't know yet. Okay, that low, is it established yet? The answer is no. Correct. Is this high established yet? So see, this low isn't established yet, but this one is. Everybody sees that, right? Now, when this comes down and you even make a higher low, or even the same low, see it coming down right into support? This is your high. See, in other words, you have a low, a high, a higher low, and now we need a higher high to establish this swing. Established, right? Those are so close, they're within a tick, so that's neither here nor there on either one of those, okay? But see how that's established now? So then you look, you say, okay, this is where we're at right this very moment. Now let's draw our lightning 1 and see where we are right this moment. Let's put our predictor on. Not showing my predictor, why not? Not sure on that. Being cantankerous tonight on this market replay data, but that's okay. We're going to still get the trade, everybody. All right, let's go to the real chart now. Does everybody see, though, how I diagnosed that chart and why you want to be not on the wrong side of the trade? Mindy said, this is what confuses me, the little, like this high right here, you mean? This one right here? Because all that's doing is retracing. But if you look at your chart, your overall is, even if I look at this chart here, see you've got a low here, higher low. We know it's a higher high when it takes out that swing. Okay? Now, if this was to pull back and take this out, it would be heading down on this particular chart. Now, we're not talking about power meter 1 or 2. We're talking about lightning 3, power meter 3. Okay? So, as long as that gets a higher low, okay, than this, although we don't have this established yet, right? Because you only have this established when it does its thing, okay? Now watch it. This is not established yet, right? Because it hadn't, this is not established. This is. This is definitely established low, and if it takes that out, you're heading down. Okay, but when does this get established? When it takes out this swing, closer 2 of the bars, right? That's an established swing. So now, instead of this swing way down here being your low, this is your new low at 53.04. All right? And then we went up higher, didn't we? Took out our high over here. Our established low is still here, right? Established low is still there. So what's it doing right now? What is our chart doing right this very moment as we're looking at it? We're still holding a higher high, aren't we? A higher low. Because we're looking at the overall trend. Now let's look at the actual chart and see if we can get a trade. Okay, let's look at it. Let's diagnose it. Got those same silly double toolbar again. Okay, that's a high, a low, a higher high. We knew that was established, right? We clearly saw that on our other chart. Let me get that other chart. You'll see it at 53.04. See there? That's that same swing. Now, is this a higher low yet? And the answer is no, right? But it's getting ready to be if it takes this out. Everybody see that? Isn't it? In other words, a low, a high, a higher low. See, if you draw your line under here, that's a higher low. See that higher low right here? So if it takes this out, would that be a decent trade for us to very possibly take? Except I don't like breakout trades. But if you do take a breakout trade, here's the way I would recommend doing it. Dip the toe if it breaks 27. All right, because we know that that's going to be an established swing. See your high, low, lower high, lower low. So this would be a high, a low, which is a higher low, and a higher high above this line. So here's what I'd like it to do. Now we don't know if it's going to do it because I didn't trade it this time of morning. Well, close to it I did. Come on. This is what I'd like for it to do. Any kind of a thrust up above the line and a pull back, and I'd be in. Absolutely. Now, if you're going to take a breakout trade, here's the way I'd recommend it. If you've got a high up here at 38, okay, the way you want to take this breakout trade, and I think this is the trade very close to what we did this morning. Not quite the time, though, is it? No, it's still about 40 minutes early. Everybody see that? If you're going to take a breakout trade, what I'd really recommend, though, would be to take a pullback trade into that area and see they've already checked it. So now they're going to check this little area here, and I'd probably be buying it, but you're really only looking at 28 to 38 for a target, okay? So draw your lines on your chart, like so. Is that a good enough trade for us to take a chance at? I would say yes. This would be a little breakout trade if we boxed it in. Good enough for me. Come on, I don't want a box. Why'd you draw a box? Everybody see that? Okay. Now, in this particular case, I would be putting my stop just under here because that's the lightning swing. Now we're feeling some heat on this. That's $20. Two contracts, there's 20 up. We're okay. We're up 60. All right. Should we take some profit? Probably. When you get at least 5 ticks or so, you know, when you get $100, it might not be a bad idea to close one of them out. I usually just do it like this, just put my finger on the sell trigger. Now we've got our stop in. We know where it should hit its head. It hasn't hit this top yet, so we feel pretty confident that it will. And I'll trust my lightning. Okay, now we're back to break even. Now we're up 20 bucks. Now we're down 40. What do you think? Should hit its head on top of this line because it hadn't tested it yet at 26. By the way, what did I say a minute ago that I would like for it to do instead? This is why I don't like breakout trades. What did it do? It broke up above here. Not quite as high as I drew my little line, but it broke up, right? And then it pulled back, didn't it? There's where I would like to get that trade, would be right here, right on top of that swing. Now we're okay on this one. I'm going to go ahead and tighten it just in case, but I am not going to reverse it at all, because that support should technically hold. Now, one real quick question for anybody that's out there. Where do you think this should actually test when it broke out? I drew the line right on top of 27. 26 is where we got it because that's the swing. But now that it's not even tested it yet. See what I mean? So let's draw it right here. It did test it once. That's good. See if we can get a little trade here. Now, I would not recommend going nuts with extra contracts until it takes this out. In other words, if it popped up above 38, pulled back and kissed any type of support, that's when I would grab it or add more contracts. Or if we can get a pullback that actually turns red and get in if it does a little breakup. I'm going to sell one if we get $100. Just one. No dice on $100 yet. Still in the profit though. We might get it. Kind of double topping so far, isn't it? But we don't know it's going to double top until it takes out our little lightning swing. Now, usually what I would do here is more than likely I would actually jump in. If it touches that 27, to give an example, I'd probably buy one. But we're going to just stay with our plan for right now, simply because we're not feeling anything but heat so far. Just testing 26, 27 area. See if that holds. Exit on close. See how if you draw on your charts, you know, you're in the room, sometimes I kid around and say, maybe I should move my line. Because if you draw your lines in the right spot on your charts, you'll be surprised how well they'll hold. It's almost like they're a barrier for everyone else. See how they can't seem to take that out? Now, if they do, they do, and I'll get back in a little bit lower. Okay, I'm still going to take $100. No 100 yet. I think we had it almost, didn't we? Still okay. Sell it at $100. That way we get $100 in our pocket. So we have a low here, a high, a low, a higher low, a higher high, but it only wicked it. So technically your support's still at 27, but it's not what I call very established either. See how they're testing it again? Back in the red again. We'll see if we can get it. It's going to play around, it looks like to me. Now this is usually where I go ahead, if I see it bounce off support, I add and then take away really quick. But I'm not going to show that tonight as much, because if you're not really quick, you got to get in and out pretty quick. Because for instance, the way you do this, you'd literally like buy, say 3, and then the moment you get up even a little bit, you sell those 3. And you have a really, really tight stop. See how it bounced off support? And then I'd probably sell 3 if it comes back. Don't close below my line. Stay above it. Now that's a riskier way to trade, especially if we're getting a lower high here than over here, and then they start heading down. But we'll know that if they take us out. See if we can get rid of some. There's about $140. Back to 40, quick as you can say it. If I get that 140 again, I'm going to sell this thing. 3 of them. Anybody nervous on this yet? What do you think? It's still doing lightning up, so is there any reason to be concerned about it yet? There's not, is there? Now there is if they take out my stop, but I won't lose that much. Come on, crude, at least $100 bill. Mercy, you're boring me. It's getting real close to the open. Remember how I said this morning that down here at the predictor was such a good trade? I wasn't up at that time. But remember where I showed you on the chart, you could draw your little trend line? And I showed the trade. I was in about right in through here if I remember right. But I'm showing you how you can get in also on a thrust and a pullback. Five contracts, you can make money quick or you can lose money quick. That's good enough. I'm going to take 3 off. See, so we saved $150 or so. Now I'm going to bring my stop right up in here. So I got a 3 tick. With 3 contracts, that'd be $90. Close of the bar could be as high as $150, so it'd take everything back. Everybody see that? And that's what it does to you right there, a lot. See how you came within 1 tick of that top, but it was too quick to get out of? Now probably if this doesn't go ahead and take this out, I'm going to go ahead and protect my stop, like right under here even, with a touch only. Okay? But if it comes back into support, I'll buy it again. And that's if it takes us out. Now that's a tight stop. You don't have to go that tight. Your true stop on this particular trade would be right here. Everybody see that? And if you're not going to use exit on close, I would lag it back a couple of 3 ticks. Something like that. Just so that you're behind the swing a little bit. So that, in other words, a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high will hold you in the trade. Okay, on your micro. Okay, if it'll go up there one more time and give us a shot at this, we'll see about getting our final profit. Remember how slow this was this morning, everyone? But you also remember how by about 8:10 it shot up? I don't remember exactly, so we're still trading it just like we would call it in the room. Okay? Let's speed it up and see. The main thing I want to show you is if you draw on your charts, the prices shouldn't come against you if the swing is established. See there? Where's the swing going to be if it takes this out? Not out yet. Whoa, right back. That was at the open. Now, probably what I'd do right here would be to actually add like that. See where it bounced off support? And I would definitely put my stop pretty tight. See, that was the open of the market right there. We feeling a little bit of heat? No, a little bit. Remember where I put this line though? Wasn't that actually your lightning swing? And now where's your lightning swing? Well, it's right under here, right this very moment, as much as this shot up. Okay? Now, if this makes any kind of a pullback, like into stealth to give an example, if you missed out on this trade, that's not a bad area to take it. Okay? Where's our swing right now? Well, it's right here, and it's also right here. Everybody see that? Like that. Okay? So you can pretty much trust that 43, I think. About like that. Exit on close. Pretty good little trade it turned out to be, didn't it? Now, is anybody not drawing your charts every single day? Every single day, if you draw on your charts, you can and you will make money. But you got to draw on your charts. Because just like we do in that room all the time, you'll find that when you draw on those charts in the right spot, that's going to hold them. All those funny times where I'm constantly saying, you want me to move the line so the price will go up? That's because of drawing on the charts in the proper spot. You know, for instance, where's our swing right this very moment? Well, it's actually right here, isn't it? Thrust, retrace, thrust. That's your micro right there, and this is your secondary. Everybody see that? You want to stick with it until it gives up the ghost? I would. Turns into some pretty major money really quick if you do this all right. You think it would bounce right there, wouldn't you? Should bounce off that swing right there at 56. Bar close still on. We just added 3. Now, since I added 3, where it came right down to where did I draw my line? Well, I drew it under micro. Okay. What did it do? It came and tested it. It'll take it out by a tick or so sometimes. That's not a problem, by the way. Notice that one didn't quite come down to predictor, but it did come down to where I drew my line. Okay. So where do you think it'll more than likely thrust up to and pull back to? Anybody? In other words, if it breaks 67, where do you think it'll pull back to? Because I'm going to show you how to see it in real time, because this was drawn in the room also. Okay, because I'm starting to see it already. Anybody? Okay, if you break 67, looking to the left to trade the right. Let's just get rid of our targets so that that way we've just got targets only. I'm not worried about the stop. I'm trying to teach. Okay, so if we break 67, now we don't want to break here, right? That's pretty much established. It should bounce. See it right there? But let's diagnose the chart and see where we can get in this thing if we weren't even in it. Anybody want to see if you can figure out where it's at? I'll draw lightning and see if you can figure it out in real time. We'll draw it from over here. Okay, let's watch it for a minute. Now, by the way, with 4 contracts, we probably would have gotten out of something, but what I'm trying to do here is show how you can tell where this thing should pop up and pull back to, because they do it quite nicely. And all you've got to do is draw on your charts and see where they're trying to go. I'll fast forward a little bit. Okay. I would draw a line on a chart right there. I would draw a line on a chart right there. That's a little too shallow for me there, so I trust this one a little bit more. That's looking to the left to trade the right. So let's say you weren't in anything. Let's just kill this trade, period. Let's see if it doesn't come down to close to that 60 and bounce. Looking to the left to trade the right. And y'all tell me where you're going to get in it. So you have a high, low, lower, high, higher low, right? So it took out this swing. So this is definitely an established swing, right? So we expected, if it's going to head up, to thrust up and pull back and kiss and thrust up again. Now, if we get in this trade like right here or even here, you know, just somewhere close to this swing, where would our stop be? We got to have that in mind already too. Stop's going to be under there. See if we can get it. I'll go about 10 times normal speed. Everybody see how to do this really well? Close to my 160. I'm going to grab you. I think I missed it. That's good enough right there. Came within 3 ticks. I'm good. Now, does everybody see why I did this right here? Now, a safer way to do this would be obviously for the little breakout, but then you have to put your stop here once it does break out. Now, our stop could probably come up in here as soon as it breaks this little swing. In other words, you have a high, low, lower high, same low. So if it takes this out, it's starting to break the swing to the upside. Once it breaks 67, everybody see that, right? Okay, let's see if we can do just what I said it would do. Okay, we may even check all the way to here. That's fine. That's an aggressive trade. But it should hit its head here without closing the bar. It may wick it. I could even tighten this up just a little bit probably, because it should hit its head at 60. If it doesn't, I can get out of the trade. If that bar will close above 67, I'm going to bring my stop all the way under right there where that swing's at. Let's go ahead and get our targets out of the way for now. Now, obviously, you'd want to take some coin at that target right there at 73, where it's already hit. And there you go. Where's your stop now? Would it be right under there, wouldn't it? Exit on close. Now, we don't know if it's going to go any higher yet, but aren't we looking at lightning swings? You have a high, low, same lows. So now you have a low, a high, a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So technically, they should even hold here. See, between those two lines, they have to hold. That's your micro swing. That's your secondary swing. Everybody see that? How to see that? And watch, we're almost out of time, but I'm going to just fast forward this. And I want you to see how these lightning swings hold. How you draw on your charts is extremely important. We'll kill these targets. Lightning swing needs to hold. There you go. Where's your lightning swing now? It's right there. Where's your lightning swing? Almost there, isn't it? Almost right there. I'd probably be getting out of that trade under that line, and we already missed it. See there? Just right where you think it's going to do it, it does it. Okay? Now, I've got that going 500 times, so obviously we can't trade it now. But everybody see how to do that? It did exactly what we thought it would do. It came up here. It took out this swing. Could you have gotten out of that trade? Absolutely. So what did it do after that? It came down and it kissed the swing area. Mid-band is a swing also. Your prices are swings. And when it busted up, for instance, like, well, let's say if you got in looking for below mid-band and it popped back up above mid-band, get the trade. You can do it that way. You can box in a 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, right now, there's basically with 500 times, we're not going to catch it again. But if you want to see another trade, I'll show you where it's at. Let's see if we can diagnose it together, and then we will wrap. I'm going to draw lightning, get rid of lines. And let's look to the left to trade the right. Okay, we had a looking on the left side. That's our swing identified, right? All right, looking to the right, thrust, retrace. That's actually our swing there too, isn't it? So let me ask you a question. Would that be a pretty good area to look to get in again? Yeah, we may have missed it because it has already come down to it. It looks to me like we've actually missed it because it did come down exactly to it. Okay? But if you do something like this and you've missed it, then look at your next level down. And if it even comes close to that line where that swing is, I'll grab it anyway. Let's see if we can get it. We don't want it to take out this swing here. We do want it to kiss this swing Here. See, it's already kissed this one, so now it's going to kiss this one. Or it's going to blow up through the top, and then we're not going to chase it. See if I can fast forward this enough to get in it. It looks like I'm out of, yeah, I ran out of data. That's the end of my data. Sorry about that. Let's look at the real thing and see. That was at 12:32 in the afternoon. Let's leave my lines on the chart, and I'm going to start. We're going to leave 84 in and 81, and I'm going to start the real data, and let's see what it did at that moment. So I'm going to turn off market replay. Okay, turned it off. Now I'm going to turn on regular data. Bear with me a second. And it'll have to load the chart, but it won't move my lines. 81 and 84. Let it go ahead and load. And see if we don't get this trade. What did we say? 12:32, right? 12:32. Hope I didn't pick the time they're doing server, because NQ didn't load and now CL's not loading. Let me try reloading historical data. It's trying to load. Historical data is a pain sometimes. I don't know sometimes if they maintenance their servers at night or what the deal is, but my real data is not bringing in CL or TF or any of them. I'll tell you what, if you'll bear with me 1 second, I will go ahead. Y'all remember 81 and 84, right? I'm going to just prove this and see if I'm wrong or right on this. So I'm going to take Ninja down. I'm going to go back into it. Bear with it just a second. Let's see if drawing on your charts pays off. And if it doesn't load, I guess we'll be done. That was oil. There's the old sound of oil loading, or the data loading. Yeah, we got data. Bear with me a second. Okay, so I am going to go to 12:32. Anybody? I'm going to draw my lines back. Remember I said 53.81, right? And I said 53.84 was a little too shallow for me. Remember? Okay, so now let's go into seeing what it actually did. All right, so if I was to actually put a buy in at 81, okay, watch and see if it did what I said it would do. There it is right there. Everybody see that? Thrust, retrace, thrust. That's a lightning swing. That's telling me they double topped up here. This swing didn't hold. This is your identified swing. Now you want to bet? If it actually went up, we'll find out. There you go. That's the way to draw on your charts. You got to see it in real time. You're always looking at the micro trend for these micro pullbacks. Once they break micro, you're going to go to medium pullbacks. Okay? Once they start stair-stepping again, look at where those swings are. That's where they're coming back to. If anybody's smart enough out there to figure us out an algorithm where we can turn that into an auto trader, we'll all be multimillionaires, because that is exactly what the market does. All right. Anybody have any questions? What does the base period mean, Walter? I did mention I was going to talk about that, didn't I? Bear with me 1 second. I'll show you. This base period value right here, if you change this, let me just show you. If you put this on like 1, I'll draw the bars. Hopefully they'll draw. And this is where the data is at the end of the day. Let's see. Notice how, let's see, your data pops up. Is that going one tick into that? I can't tell. That's what I thought it does. Let's see. That's a base period of 1. Let's do 2 and see what it does. Because I think that's what it does. It goes into the previous bar. I might have to ask my programmer. Please load. Please, please load. Fastest computer in the world. And sometimes just want to pull your hair out. And it has an awful lot to do with NinjaTrader 7. And we'll try to get to 8 when we can. Because we're not loading, unfortunately. I may have to show that in the room tomorrow, Walter, instead. I'll do that. Because I'm not loading data at all. This, see, it's not responding at all right there. Okay. So let's go ahead and wrap. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Will you be able to draw on your charts next time around? I think more than likely you will. And I think it's extremely important to be able to do just that. I don't even have another chart. I'm just a blue screen now. Crazy. Let's see, do we have to wait for the 8 before we get the ray lines? Do you have to wait for 8? Oh, before you get the ray lines on Object Trader? No, I'm actually going to be talking to my programmer here pretty soon. He wanted me to let him get through the Christmas vacation with family and everything, and then we're going to be talking. And I may, rather than just going whole hog on 8, may just change a few things in 7 and not worry about 8 for a little bit further. Because to me, it's all about making money, and 7 works beautifully on Object Trader to begin with. So I'll probably add some things to it, at least a few things, before we even start going to 8. He's doing a few indicators for me already right now. So sorry about that. I leaned on the remote deal. So anyway, yeah, we'll be adding some of that to it. And I apologize if some of this was kind of messed up because of, obviously, Ninja doesn't want to load correctly. It's kind of irritating when something like that happens, especially in a webinar. But you'd be surprised that type of thing does go on. Okay, let's see. Yeah, see, here's what it does, Walter. You can tell now. You should be able to see my screen because it just came up. See how this bar came back into this bar, 2 ticks? See, so in other words, this bar closed to the upside. This bar, literally went all the way up here to the top, but then closed here. So it opened here and closed here, right? So that's 2 ticks inside that bar. That's what that base period means. Or it may even be just 1 tick, whatever base period actually stands for. But it's whatever size the bar is, and that's what that base period is. If you put it like on, say, a base period of 4, I'm pretty sure they'd be side by side or close to it. Let's find out. I've never really messed with it. I leave it on 2, usually. Yeah, see, that came from there. You basically opened here, closed here, so that came down 83 to 80. So that came down a full 3 ticks into the previous bar. So that's what it has to do with. It's just the way the bars form. It doesn't matter they're going to form exactly when the prices are at the proper spot to begin with. It just makes the chart look a little different. Okay? Can we do a trail stop that trails bar by bar with an offset? I'm going to try to add it even, Diane, where we can say, basically I want to do a bar close that has like an algorithm in it. In other words, if it gets a bar closed down, I want to turn on for the next bar close down or maybe the second bar down. You see what I mean? Because did you notice today on NQ, to give an example, those bars did not close down at all. I'll show you how that trade would have set up and then we'll wrap if this will load. NQ wasn't loading earlier, so we may not. NQ loaded, so let's go to 4 range bars. I'll show you that big move this morning, how something like that can pay off big time. Remember that move? Remember when we opened the room this morning? We opened the room at 8:30. Well, we opened the room before that, but at 8:30 is when the equities open. Okay, everybody remember that? And I had drawn on the chart, just like I taught tonight. I had it drawn right across here. Everybody remember that? So what did it do? It thrust up, it pulled back into support, didn't it? Now, if you waited for a deeper retrace, like even into predictor or into mid-band, you didn't get it, and you left this whole big move on the table. I highly wouldn't recommend doing that because I called that trade in the room this morning. And you could even, when it came down right to the line, you could have boxed it in even. I did have a box also drawn, remember, with a line like this, like that. And for anybody that got in it, it just took off like a bird. But to give you an example, Diane, on your question, see where this went up and you had a bar down, then you had a bar up. That would never fire a trail. You had a bar down, bar up, it would never fire. See, all the way up this thing, it would have never fired. Is the beauty of that kind of a trail stop. Now, if you had it to where it got one down and turned it on, you got a second one down, it fired you out, or by the third one it fired you out, you would have gotten out here. Which, remember, that was pretty quick this morning. And I even called this live when this had gone up this much. I said, man, this thing's gone up a bunch. People, be careful. Remember? I said, huge move up. Anytime they do that many bars up, you better watch it because they're going to definitely take out support. And they did. They did go up a little bit. You had a trade here, trade here, trade here, and a trade here, and even a trade here. Trade here that would have barely worked out, and then you started actually breaking down. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if it did that several times a week? That particular trade right there with, to give an example, with, say, even 5 contracts, 50 all the way up to, even if you use line 6 that I called out in the room, closed below it, you would have gotten out right there on that bar. So say roughly 40.89 from 49.49. That was literally a 40-point run, 160 ticks. Monster. But look at it now. And how many times did it kiss if you drew your lines on your chart? Breaks down, kisses. See it right there? Breaks down, kisses. Breaks way down, right? Ellipse, decent trade. A little deeper for phantom, decent trade. Another decent trade. See what I mean? And they're taking all of it back that they gave this morning. Look at that. All right. We'll go ahead and wrap. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And before I get with him, Diane, what I'll do is I'll ask a bunch of, in the room, I'm going to ask everybody what they'd like to have added to Object Trader. And then we'll prioritize what people really want. And then we'll have 2 or 3 things added to it at least. Maybe 4. All right. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the webinar. And it was recorded. And it will be up. All right. Good night.